Well, hi there. So in this video, we're going to be talking about FRQ Prep number 2, which is a combination of a couple of problems, but it allows us to kind of combine different concepts into one, which is pretty common for the AP microeconomics exam. So the first part is a perfectly competitive firm selling its product at a price of 30, fill in the chart. And they have to tell you it's perfectly competitive so that you know something that the price is equal to the marginal revenue. And so we learned that Mr. DARP, marginal revenue, demand for the firm, average revenue for the firm, and the price that the firm charges are all the same thing. So we can go ahead and fill this in right now, 30, 30, all the way down 30. And we also know that the price times the total product gives us total revenue. So we do 30 times 0 is 0. 30 times 1 is 30. 30 times 2 is 60. And then we go all the way down here, 150, 180, 210. And then it should make sense that, the change in total revenue with an additional product is marginal revenue. Now we can look at the fixed cost side of things, and we'll figure out variable in just a moment. We know that variable, actually we could do that one right now. We know variable cost doesn't exist when we have 0 units of output. So we just say 0 here, which means that if variable cost plus fixed cost equals total, we know that then the fixed cost is 10. That's also something we can know just because if total cost is 10 at 0 units of output, we know that that corresponds to the fixed cost. If it's fixed, then it is fixed for all of the range of the quantities in this short run scenario. And so we'd say it's 10 all the way down. And now we just add fixed and variable together to find the total cost. So 40, 55, 73, 96, 30. No, that's not 30. I can't add. I was trying to do the change. 140, 140. No, 100. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. 146. Woo! There we go. For some reason, oh my gosh. You know what? Now you really can tell that I'm kind of having a real brain fart. 10 plus 116 is 126. There we go. 126. Duh. 156 plus 10. I don't know why that was so hard for me. And 210 plus 10 is 220. This should have been way easier. And now we can do the marginal costs. You could do marginal cost by finding the change in the variable cost, or you could find it with the change in total cost. Either one should end up with the same number. So we have 10 and then 15 and then 18 from 55 to 73. And again, this is actually the change in total cost over the change in total product. And we're just finding the change in total cost because the change in total product is 1 every single time. Here, this is 6 plus 7, I don't know. Oh man, I should have brought my calculator. 23. Yeah, 23. Oh my gosh. And then here we've got, this is 30. So clearly 30 was in my brain somewhere with that. 166 to 126, that's 40. And then last but not least, there's 34, that's 54 is the end number that we ended up with. So 30, 15, 18, 23, 30, 40, 54, it is actually turning out to be kind of a little up. It comes down, so that would be like 30, and then hits its minimum here, that's like 15, and then it comes back up again throughout the range. So it does kind of behave like a marginal cost curve we would expect. What's the AVC when producing 3 units of output? Well, that's easy. That's going to be AVC, 3 units of output, 63 divided by 3 is $21. So 63 over the number of units of product, because that's just variable cost over total product. What's profit maximizing quantity of output? Explain using marginal analysis. So here we're going to compare the marginal revenues to the marginal costs. And we find that, yes, that for the very first unit, marginal revenue equals marginal cost, but we wouldn't want to stop here. And that's because there's still gains from specialization. Notice that marginal cost is still falling for the next few units. And so we don't want to stop kind of in this point. We'd want to keep going a little bit on that marginal cost curve until we get to that point where we've got MR equals MC, if we had a Mr. DARP going straight across. So we're going to keep kind of going down. 15 is less than 30, 18 is less than 30, 23 is less than 30. There, 30 equals 30. So we are going to produce 5 units, quantity 5, because MR equals MC, 30, and the idea here is marginal analysis requires that we think about what's the next unit, why wouldn't we produce the next unit? That's really what they're saying when they say explain using marginal analysis. They're saying, why wouldn't you make the next one? And Q6, no, because the marginal cost, which is 40, is greater than the marginal revenue, which is 30. And that is enough to tell a grader that you really do understand the idea of marginal analysis. You're thinking on the margin, you're comparing the marginal costs and marginal revenues. What's the profit per unit at the quantity identified in B? So at quantity 5, right, the amount of profit per unit. So this would be profit divided by the total product. So we're going to say the profit we need first, but we do know the product amount would be 5. So we're going to figure out what the profit would be. So that's total revenue, 150, minus total cost, 126. That's that really terrible math that I couldn't do. And so the profit there is 24. 24. Oh, shoot, this doesn't turn out really pretty. So I am going to do a calculator. 24 divided by 5 is $4.80. $4.80. So that one is a little bit wackadoo. The other way you could do it is 5 goes into 24 4 times with obviously 4/5 left over, and 4/5 left over is 80 cents. So it's not too bad, but normally that's going to end up being a whole number or something nice and easy for us. All right, let's take a look at the last part of this problem. Graph it right, identify the cost curves, curve 1, curve 2, curve 3. So curve 1, that's definitely a marginal cost curve. It's got that nice J shape to it. So I'm actually going to just go whoop, marginal cost. And then curve 2 is the one that's above the other one. And so that's going to be the average total cost. This one's going to be the average variable cost. And I know that ATC is bigger than AVC because AVC plus the AFC is what actually creates ATC. The fixed plus the variable equals the total. So the total is going to be bigger. So that's how I know that ATC is above the AVC. Why does curve 1 initially decrease? Well, we know that it initially decreases because of specialization of labor. Specialization of labor is a typical reason. And why does it eventually increase? Well, that's diminishing marginal returns. Diminishing marginal returns. And in fact, that's actually just enough of an explanation in of itself. We're not really asked to explain the idea. It's just saying, like, why is this happening? Why does the vertical distance between 2 and 3 decrease as output increases? So we can actually even see there's the vertical distance there, but it's smaller at a larger quantity. And that's because vertical distance equals the AFC, which is decreasing because of spreading the fixed cost over more quantity. And that's basically like saying, well, we're taking the fixed cost and we're just dividing by ever larger numbers. So the numerator of that fraction, right, AFC equals fixed cost divided by the quantity or the total product, the numerator is never going to change. But as we continue to produce units of quantity of output, that then is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller because this denominator gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. So we're just spreading out that fixed cost, which is actually causing the distance here to shrink between the two, demonstrating that we really do understand that AFC is actually on this graph as well. Hopefully this helped you with a little bit of the prep for FRQs. I'll see you next time.